The first light of dawn stretched across the sky in soft pinks and mellow golds as I stepped into my yard, toolbox in hand, ready to upgrade the lock on my pool gate. I'm Henry Thompson, a retired engineer with a deep respect for order. My hedges are always trimmed sharp, my lawn precisely edged, and every tool in my garage has a place. Willow Grove was supposed to be my haven, a peaceful retreat. But that particular Saturday morning had other plans. I was humming an old Motown tune when I noticed a figure cast a long shadow over my work tarp. A teenager. Couldn't have been older than 17, stood on my edge-trimmed grass with carefully styled blonde hair, jabbing a finger toward me as though delivering closing arguments in a courtroom drama. "I know what you're doing," he barked, "and I'm not letting you get away with it." I paused, screwdriver mid-turn, genuinely confused. Get away with what? I'm just updating my own pool gate. If only it had ended there. This whole bizarre saga began with that kid. Let's call him Junior Pest, leaning against my hedge with all the arrogance of someone who thinks HOA bylaws are the Constitution. "You can't install that thing," he declared, staring at my smart lock like it was a crime scene. I've spent decades keeping my cool through corporate chaos, so I simply greeted him and calmly explained, "It's just a lock upgrade, for my grandkids' safety." His response? A dramatic scoff and a puffed-out chest. "It's against the rules. I'm telling you to stop." Telling me. I almost chuckled. But his entitled glare stopped me. This wasn't about rules. This was about something else entirely. He called the lock a security threat and dismissed every feature I mentioned, remote emergency release, code sharing with family members, as irrelevant. Then came the real reason. "I know what you're really trying to do." His voice dripped with false bravado, like a B-list movie villain on a power trip. "If you don't take it off, I'm calling the cops. My mom's on the HOA board. She'll make sure you regret ever buying this house." And there it was, the threat. Dressed up in privilege, but clear as day. As a black man who's navigated more than his share of prejudice, I recognized that tone. It curled in my stomach like cold wire. But I didn't flinch. "Go ahead," I said, folding my arms. "Make the call." He did. A few minutes later, a patrol car pulled up, tires crunching over the street like punctuation marks. Junior practically skipped toward it. 2 officers got out, Sergeant Daniels, older and steady, and Officer Tate, younger and clearly itching for something to escalate. Junior launched into his story like he'd rehearsed it. "He's messing with the fence. I told him to stop and he threatened me." I handed over my ID, calm and steady. "Henry Thompson. I live here. I'm installing a pool gate lock to protect my grandchildren. That's all." I motioned toward the open toolbox and the instruction manual lying next to the half-installed lock. Sergeant Daniels turned to Junior. "You said he threatened you?" Junior's face twitched, like the performance was crumbling. But before he could stammer out a reply, a glossy black SUV pulled up fast and loud. Out stepped a woman in designer athleisure, blonde ponytail high and sharp, clearly Junior's mother. Let's call her Vanessa Sharp. She walked up like she owned the pavement, brushing past me like I was part of the landscaping. "Officers," she snapped. "What's the issue?" Junior scampered to her side, still whining about my strange device. She finally looked at me, her expression cool and assessing. "So you're the new neighbor?" There was weight behind her words. Neighbor didn't sound friendly. "Henry Thompson," I replied. "Just securing my pool." Her eyes narrowed. "That thing violates HOA guidelines." Daniels spoke up. "Ma'am, this is his property. Unless he's violating city code, this isn't a police matter." Vanessa smiled like a shark. "Mr. Thompson, we have HOA covenants. Unauthorized modifications mean penalties." She turned on her heel. "Come on, sweetheart." They left in a flash, Junior beaming like he'd won something. But I knew then. I wasn't dealing with one annoying kid or a nosy neighbor. This was the beginning of something bigger. A week later, a certified envelope arrived from the HOA. Inside, a violation notice citing non-compliant hardware on the pool gate. The letter ended with a threat of daily fines. It was signed, of course, by Vanessa Sharp. The morning air was cool as I stepped onto my lawn, ready to install a new smart lock on the gate by the pool. I'm Henry Thompson, a retired engineer with a love for clean lines and order. My yard a testament to precision, every hedge manicured to near perfection. This neighborhood, Willow Grove, had always been my peaceful escape. Or so I thought. That peace didn't last long. A notice appeared in my mailbox, the handwriting elegant yet sharp, warning me that I had to remove the lock or pay a $50 fine per day. Days later, another letter accused my lawn of being too perfectly trimmed. Then my dark green doormat was suddenly too bold for the community's bland aesthetic. It became clear. Vanessa, the HOA president, had made me her target, using vague bylaws like a weapon. I wasn't passive. I replied with photos, documentation, even detailed explanations. Years in corporate project management had trained me well. I kept a careful paper trail. But Vanessa escalated. My recycling bin was mysteriously knocked over. Dog waste appeared near my rose bushes, probably courtesy of her little yapper princess. Strange noise complaints summoned an inspector to my quiet yard. And every time I stepped outside, Vanessa and her son Junior glared like I'd trespassed on sacred land. It began to wear on me. I'd lie awake, grappling with frustration. Why this? Why me? All over a simple gate lock? But I wouldn't be bullied into submission. I quietly installed cameras in line with HOA rules and began keeping a journal of every incident. I documented everything. Slowly, others noticed. Mrs. Olson across the street began offering hesitant waves. Mr. Goldstein, retired and obsessed with tomatoes, muttered that Vanessa had been impossible for years. At a cleanup event, Sarah Miles, a young mother, whispered that Vanessa had fined her family over a plastic slide in their backyard. Even Tom, a widower who rarely spoke, grumbled about his newspaper placement being targeted. My quiet stand was waking something up. A silent alliance forming among those tired of her reign. The breaking point came at a community meeting in the sterile clubhouse. Vanessa stood flanked by uneasy board members, Mr. Klein and Mrs. Harrow. She led with a loud tirade, waving grainy photos of my offensive gate lock, aggressive landscaping, and clashing welcome mat. She declared I was defying the HOA's standards. I stood calmly, a briefcase in hand. I'd like to respond with evidence. I laid out the specs for the lock, city code compliance, and high-end neighborhoods with identical setups. I showed a photo of her own yard, etched just as sharply as mine. I even displayed a decor magazine where my exact mat was featured on the cover. Then came the turning point. In the past 3 months, I've received 17 notices, most without merit. I played footage showing her son vandalizing my lawn and her dog fouling my garden. There was an audible gasp. Junior shouted, "That's fake." I didn't blink. The timestamps are clear. Originals available if needed. I asked the board to drop the fines and look into Vanessa's conduct. The room turned. The board, backed into a corner, paused the sanctions. Her grip was slipping. But something still nagged at me. How fiercely she policed others. Yet her own home was spotless and frankly suspicious. I began digging. HOA records. City permits. Budget reports. My engineer's instincts caught discrepancies. Funds disproportionately benefiting her street. Invoices to companies that didn't exist. Then I found it. Vanessa's garden shed wasn't just a shed. The permit was for a 10 by 12 structure. In reality, it was a luxurious outbuilding, air conditioning, plumbing, even electrical wiring. It was practically a guest house. No permit. Completely illegal. I didn't want revenge. I wanted accountability. I assembled a detailed anonymous report. Copies of city permits, satellite photos, measurements. I mailed it from another town to avoid suspicion. 3 weeks later, a city inspector pulled up outside Vanessa's home. From my porch, I saw her go rigid, arms flailing as she tried to explain. The rumor mill exploded. She was being cited for an illegal dwelling unit. Goldstein confirmed it. The shed was facing major fines, maybe even demolition. I kept my distance. Friendly as ever. "Good morning," I'd say with a bright smile. She couldn't prove I was behind it, which seemed to drive her mad. At the next HOA meeting, someone brought up the shed. Vanessa had no answer. Her authority cracked. Within weeks, a demolition crew arrived. I watched the structure come down, sipping coffee, not smug, just satisfied. Vanessa avoided eye contact now, her influence gone. Word spread that she was thinking of selling. Even Junior lost his attitude, mumbling a quiet hello when he passed. Willow Grove began to breathe again. Neighbors smiled. HOA meetings became civil. My smart lock stayed. So did my green mat. My grandkids played by the pool without issue. Looking back, I understood. This wasn't about a lock. It was about what I represented. A black man thriving where people like Vanessa didn't expect him to. But I never met her hostility with rage. I used proof. I used patience. I let truth do the heavy lifting. In the end, she wasn't defeated by me. She was undone by her own double standards. Now, when I see the odd dandelion in my perfect lawn, I let it be. A reminder that perfection isn't power. Character is. Have you ever had to face someone like Vanessa?